Good morning. Happy Thursday. Hope you are all doing well. It is another shockingly beautiful day. Look at that. Facebook is on point today. Seems like every other day. All right, let's do this. Make sure this works. It does. All right, good morning. Happy Thursday. Is that what we decided today is? Thursday. Today's trash day for me. June 25. We are 1 week from today before Gus and I tackle the Northville Placid Trail. Fine-tuned that. What's up, Mama? Fine-tuned our information for that yesterday. So I think what we determined was we're going to go 52 miles, 38 miles, 52 miles. That's our game plan. So should be a good, this will definitely help ensure that I hit my mileage for that run across New York State or whatever it is that we're doing as part of Team Believe. So yeah, that'll be fun. Good morning and wait, hold on. Good morning and no races in Lake Placid. I am free. So now Matt, did they cancel Ironman Lake Placid again? I haven't seen that. They realized that, oh wait, this was a stupid idea to try to put it then. Yeah, all canceled. How about the 70.3? That's still on as of right now? That's right. Whoops. Traeger. Not really good at this reflection thing. Yeti. Let's see, you find one of those. Ace Hardware in Fayetteville has them. That was my Father's Day gift to myself. All right, today, well, first we're gonna detour for a second, and Matt is now running a 50K or 50 miler. He's gonna run the Cranberry Lake 50 miler. It's an unofficial race. If you are looking for a 50 miler to do, you can join Matt. Today we discuss greatness. Canceled. 70.3 is canceled. No shit. Well, I guess I don't have to I put my tri-bike on. We'll talk about greatness in a second. I put my tri-bike back on the trainer because Joe Hatfield and I were going to put together an awesome relay for 70.3. That was kind of secret. So now I'm just going to sit naked in a beanbag chair eating Cheetos. That's a Ron White joke. For those of you who don't know, sad state of affairs. Greatness. We're going to speak about greatness today. So kind of goes to like what I've been talking about all week, just like a single word. So really, like, I look at it as like Malcolm Gladwell in his book Outliers talks about to become masterful at something, right? Which is where that's like a level of greatness. When you look at, again, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, you know, these guys are easy to look at. 10,000 hours of deliberate practice. So how does Cam Hanes become super proficient at shooting a bow? How does Josh Bomar and Sarah Bomar become super efficient at shooting a bow? Levi Morgan is arguably one of the best archers alive. How do they get that good? Practice, 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 practice. But as my old baseball coaches, Coach Virgil included, would say, it has to be the right type of practice. Just going out and drawing your bow different every time and finding different anchor points, never going to make you great. Same thing, going out and riding your bike in using different pedal strokes in, you know, different cadence, not necessarily going to make you great. Like the reason the way that you become great at something is this deliberate practice. Like I have, in Pavel Tuzolini, however the hell you say his last name, he's a kettlebell god. He brought kettlebells to America. Pavel calls it greasing the groove. It's not about going heavy. It's when you're doing kettlebell swings or kettlebell snatches or kettlebell clean and press, whatever you're doing, it's about being very like from the first rep to the 50th rep, your form should be identical and the form should be done correctly. So whether you're running, as you start to tire, your form typically starts to break down. So that's why, like, a lot of times in my workouts, I'll post for guys and girls, think of your form, think of your proud running form while you're running. And what I want you to do is, as you get tired and as you start to do this, which is natural in running as you're getting tired, is that's where you want to think about that proud form, staying upright, keeping those arms down and relaxed at 90 and hands relaxed and all those little things, So greatness, mastery, Malcolm Gladwell, 1,000 hours of deliberate practice. How does this relate to work? Well, you go to high school, you go to college, if you get your master's degree, all of that is adding to your hours and hours of, let's say you're going to be an accountant, of working on that accounting. And then you graduate and then you do an internship, an externship, and then you get a job somewhere. And you're not a master of accounting when you start. Now you have to pack on 5 years of experience. And that's where, you hear these advertisements for companies that'll say, with over 40 years of experience. Well, that tells you that they have mastered that craft without telling you that we have masters of this craft, whatever it might be. So, when you think of that, I want you to think of it in that same context. Sorry, I'm just making sure that I'm not losing internet. Looked like I was for a second. How does that work with food? And this is kind of what sparked the idea with this topic. Was someone was asking me the other day, they're like, how am I ever going to get like comfortable with this, with my nutrition? And I'm like, well, that's easy. Like, the more you do it, the more comfortable you get. Like, I'm the first one to admit, when I first started even writing programs, I couldn't tell you verbatim, like, exactly how many carbs were in blueberries or strawberries or, pretzels or whatever it is. But the more I put meal plans together, the more I worked with people, the more I was, taking things in and out and moving stuff around and finding like the perfect combination for each person, the more I started to realize, like, okay, well, if I exchange one banana, which is 25 grams of carbs, for one apple, that's 21 grams of carbs, for a cup of strawberries, that's 14 grams of carbs, like, that's when everything started to click. Is the more you do it, the more you practice in, with, weekly meetings with clients and, working on meal plans daily, like all of that stuff. For me, it really starts to get into that groove, right? So I don't expect, if someone is first starting their nutrition programming, that you're going to be proficient. That's why you have us, and we can act as that sounding board of like, well, can I have this versus this? And that's what we're here for. And, so it's like, well, how do you get good at, how do I, when it comes to food, I always say, like, your daily attentiveness to your food choices. So even if you don't go, months ago, I posted that little pyramid that I put together of how strict you are with your nutrition, whether it's you just acknowledge that you eat all the way down to measuring in grams. And somewhere in between there is where you might fall. So when you look at that and you say, like, okay, I'm paying attention to my food choices. I'm going to just, for the next week, I'm only going to eat food that is fresh. So it's either going to be fresh meats, fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, fresh fats. That's it. I'm not going to buy anything that comes in a box. That's a hell of a challenge. And that can be very difficult to do for a lot of people. However, you start doing that, and then it's like, you know what, I feel really, and then, but the key to all of this is this daily attentiveness. How do you feel? Like, how do you feel at the end of the day when you only eat straight up fresh fruit, fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, fresh meats, fresh fats? How do you feel? A lot of F's there. And then you take that one step further and be like, I'm going to do it another week because I felt pretty good at the end of last week. And all of a sudden, now you've got 7 days, another 7 days, 24 hours. Now you're starting again, as Pavel says, you're greasing that groove. We haven't even gone down the rabbit hole of getting very specific with your food. So you have to be very conscious about the food choices you make on a daily basis. So that's why I say, like, mastery, Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hours before you're a master at it. So I don't expect that you're going to become a master at nutrition in a week or in a month, but it's something that when it comes to food, you have to consistently pay attention to it. Just like you have to consistently pay attention to things that are going on in your workplace, whether it's, if you're an accountant right now with the way that everything is going with PPP loans and loan forgiveness and unemployment and COVID and everything else, it's like, you're always, you're paying much more attention to what's going on and tax time changes, deadlines, and all that stuff, instead of just being super complacent and being like, well, tax day is April 15th. Yeah, but I got a question about, sorry, I don't really know much about what's going on with that. No, you have to stay up to date with that stuff. My wife has to continually take continuing education because they want her to stay up to date with the latest and greatest technologies and procedures and all that stuff. So 10,000 hours begins that part of mastery. So how does it work with work? You do that through experience, through education, through all those levels, right? How does that work with food? Consistently paying attention. Like, if you have oatmeal every day, take a look at, if you just look at that container every day for a week, you will have it ingrained as to how many calories, fats, carbs, and protein are in one serving, or half a cup if it's regular uncooked quick oats. You'll know what those numbers are. So that is how you can win at nutrition. You don't have to do something super sexy. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to do keto. Can that help? Sure. You don't have to do intermittent fasting. Can that help? Sure. All you have to start with the super basic level of what goes into this thing and how much. Over time, you start to look at, like, how much. So what goes in? Again, inventory for a week. And then you start to clean up those layers. So to become great when it comes to food, you have to become a master. You have to become a master to become great. And to do that, it has to be this daily attentiveness. So that means eliminating this mindless snacking. And again, that's super hard when, you've been going to work and now you're in COVID status because you're part of apparently phase 4.2179. So you're not back at work yet. And, there's much more opportunity and, snacks around. So you have a tendency to snack more. Be very mindful of what you're doing and have that daily attentiveness. And that's where journaling can help. Food journaling, things like that can help you, because you can find that, like, the more I write things down, it's like, oh man, every day I seem to have goldfish at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I don't even realize I have it until I write it down. Well, then maybe you should position yourself to be somewhere else at 3 o'clock, or have the goldfish somewhere else, or maybe find a different snack for your kids or whatever, so that they're not around. So that's today. Greatness, mastery. I want you to think about that mastery. Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers book, 10,000 hours of deliberate practice. So don't just go out there hunky-dory, and practice. As we used to say, perfect practice leads to perfection, not practice. Practice does not lead to perfection. Perfect practice does. Coach May would instill that on us. We would break everything down to the most minor detail as far as like hand, like for pitchers, hand position right here. That first, how and this was like part of the drill. Like you just bring that arm back and we would break it down and you do that perfect repetition time and time again so that when it came time to put all of those steps together, it's just like teaching a kid how to say a multi-syllable word. It's Mississippi, and then you kind of build on that. So think about this stuff as you continue to improve your daily life. And as always, if you have any questions, please reach out. Please shoot us an email, shoot us a message on the messenger, either me, Cheryl, or Andrea. And we'd be more than happy to answer any questions you have. But, deliberate practice, grease the groove, and I will see you guys bright and early. Tomorrow's Friday. Another beautiful day out there. So I hope you get outside and enjoy some of the sunshine. And Matt, welcome to Iron Man Lake Placid Vacation.